Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum class. I welcome you to English grade 6 video lessons. I'm your instructor Zia Hamid. I hope that you're doing well and all ready and set to learn about today's students learning outcome from unit number 4. As you know, we have covered SLOs from the other competencies in the previous lessons. Now it's time to cover something from the competency of vocabulary. This will be our lecture number 4B, and we are dealing with unit 4. The title is He is a Carpenter. I hope that you have read the lesson and understood it very well. Now let's talk about our students learning outcome and see how we are going to achieve it by the end of our lesson. So our students learning outcome is identify the use of language structure, vocabulary, and presentation to predict and understand the meaning. So this SLO is specifically about understanding, predicting, and understanding the meaning of any text that we are studying. We will be seeing three things: language structure, vocabulary, and presentation. Now, all these three things will be analyzed if we want to understand and correctly understand the meaning of any text. So, language structure, vocabulary, and presentation will help us to predict the meaning of any text. Now, in this video lesson, we have merged these two SLOs together. Now, let's discuss the second one. Now, the second one is about the themes. Identify themes as big ideas in stories or poems and other texts. Now, we know that themes are any main ideas in a text, and they are also called big ideas in any text. So, we need to identify the theme and try to understand that how the theme is covering the whole lesson, how it is the main and the big idea of any text, whether it's in a story or a poem and any other different text types. So we will be dealing with these two SLOs. Now let's talk about our brainstorming session. In this brainstorming session, we have a very interesting prompt for you, that how do you guess the meaning of any word in a text? If you are coming across any unfamiliar word that you have not heard before, or something that you are confused about, how do you guess the meaning, and what are your strategies and techniques of doing so? Give it a minute, think about it, think about all the times that you read and understood it. Now let's move on to our topic, which is about predicting meanings and identifying themes in the text. Now, we know that language is an open-ended thing, and language speaker creates so many different kind of sentences, and every sentence can be something that you have never heard before. So how do we guess what the speaker or the writer is trying to say? We predict the meaning so that we receive the correct message. Now, language is open-ended. Speakers of a language are capable of producing and comprehending an infinite set of sentences. Now, there could be so many sentences, infinite set of sentences that can be said and comprehended. So it is very important that we have some skills of predicting and understanding the meaning of any text. Now, how can we predict meanings? So you can predict the meanings in text by identifying these three things, and these are the things that we discussed in our students learning outcome. So number one is the use of language structure. Second one is use of vocabulary, and the third one is use of presentation. Now, number one is the language structure. We will see that how the sentences are structured so that we can predict the meaning. Next one is using of vocabulary. Now, we will see that what kind of vocabulary is used, how it is used, and the third one is use of presentation, how the text is presented before you and in what way and in what manner. We will be seeing these three things one by one. Now, let's start with use of language structure in predicting meaning of any text. So, understanding and predicting the meaning of a text involves analyzing its language structure, including sentence types, word choice, and punctuation. We will be seeing that how the sentences are structured, what kind of sentence is used, either it's a simple, complex, compound sentence or compound complex sentence. We will be seeing the choice of words that are chosen by the writer for who we are reading, and also how the text is punctuated, where the commas and the pauses and breaks are, so that we can predict the meaning easily. Now, these three things in language structure, they will help you understand the language, the structure of the language, which will ultimately help you understand the meaning of any text. Let's look at some examples over here. The garden was vibrant and full of life. If you read this text, what do you understand by this? The garden was vibrant and full of life. Now, the word vibrant here and full of life, these are the words we need to predict. They suggest a positive, lively atmosphere. Now, we know that these two words are positive. They are very environmental friendly, they are very natural, calming, so we can get to the right meaning of the word. Let's look at another example, and the punctuation is very important over here. Number one is, let's eat grandma. This means the comma is suggesting that the speaker or the writer is saying, inviting grandma to eat. And punctuation plays a very important part over here. But if you say, let's eat grandma, this will completely change the meaning and it will imply eating grandma, which is not the case. This is not what we are trying to say. So, punctuation is very important if we want to identify any meaning of a text. Let's talk about vocabulary now. Now, we saw that identifying the meaning includes use of language structure, use of vocabulary. So, now let's move on to vocabulary. Understanding how to predict the meaning of a text by identifying the use of vocabulary, it involves using various strategies to infer meanings of unfamiliar words or phrases based on their context. Now, you will see that what kind of vocabulary is used, either it's formal, informal words, and you will be predicting the unfamiliar words in a text by looking at the vocabulary used. We will be using various strategies in order to look for the right meaning. Let's look at some examples over here. The surrounding words and sentences provide hints about the meaning of unfamiliar words or phrases. So, the context is very important over here, because we are saying that surrounding words and sentences provide hints. Sometimes the meaning is directly stated, and sometimes you have to look for it. For example, arboreal animals such as monkeys live in trees. Now, how do we understand the word arboreal if it is not known by us and this is something new? We would predict that arboreal means animals that live in trees. Now, this is this word is actually clearing itself by using the whole context. Now we understand that arboreal animals are animals that live in trees. It is very much clear and evident from the sentence itself. Now let's talk about the third thing, which is use of presentation to identify the and predict the meaning of any text. So understanding the presentation of a text involves analyzing how the text is organized, formatted, and visually structured. So, how the text is organized, formatted, and structured. These are the three things we need to see, and this can provide significant clues about its meaning. How the text is organized and how it is formatted, it will tell us that how the text will, how we can predict the meaning of the text. Let's look at some examples over here. Now, the headings and subheadings will tell you if you're reading any text, its heading and subheading will clear the meaning most of the times. Now, the bullet points and lists will also help you clear the meaning of any text. Bold, italics, and underlined words are very helpful. Your captions and labels, charts and graphs, text boxes, and sidebars, highlighted or colored text or tables. Now, if your if your text is organized in such way that it has a heading, it has a subheading, it is structured in this way, by reading this, by looking at the structure, the formatting, you will be very much effective and helpful in order to identify the meaning of any text. So the format and the structure is very important. Now let's move on to the other part of our SLO, which we merge together with this SLO. It's about identifying themes, either they are in stories or poems. Let's see. So themes are overarching concepts or topics that are explored throughout a piece of literature. They represent the central message that the author aims to convey to the reader. Themes are often universal and can be applied to various contexts and situations. Usually, themes are stated as one word, for example, love, power, justice, betrayal, identity, and coming of age, among others. So, we can easily tell the theme in one word or two words. Let's look at an example. Here we have an example from a poem and also from a prose or a text. So, this poem, A Child's Thought, we need to identify the theme. How will we do it? First, we will read this completely. At 7, when I go to bed, I find such pictures in my head, castles with dragons prowling around, gardens where magic fruits are found, fair ladies prisoned in a tower, or lost in an enchanted bar, while gallant horsemen ride by streams that border all this land of dreams. I find so clearly in my head at 7 when I go to bed. Now, what do you conclude from this? What is the theme and what is the big idea we talked about in the SLO? Yes, this is about escape and adventure. The child is having so much imagination and he wants to escape this reality into another alternate world. So escape or adventure is the theme over here. Now, let's look at another example from a book, The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. The power of friendship is a central theme in the series. The Fellowship of the Ring, formed by characters of different races and backgrounds, highlights the strength and importance of friendship in overcoming great challenges. Now, this is a summary, a very quick gist of The Lord of the Rings, and the whole theme, the central theme, is about keep all these different characters coming together and forming friendships in overcoming the greater challenges that they faced. So the theme is the power of friendship. Now, here is a simulation link that you can play later on to learn more about the themes. And now for the classroom activity, you will be reading the text of the poem and try to answer the questions at the end. Now let's read it together. First, you need to work on this pre-reading. Which profession do you like the most and why? The poem begins by, surrounded by various professions, business, medicine, soldiership, and education, it's heaven sent and planned for him to labor, to work manually with strength and effort. True hardships entail a great man of honor. He picked up wood and tools to craft, from small drawers and tables to houses that will last, an impression of humility and expression of equality, though he is reverence a savior from heaven. Carpenters make, carpenters create, they take the common and make it something to consider. Equipped with right materials, they bind things all together, the reason being for us to know he is a builder. Now, this is from Arden Gopella. This poem is about professions. Now, what does a great man of honor mean over here? Now, let's talk about another poem, which is a shape poem that is shaped like the thing it describes. The shape adds the meaning of the poem. To write a shape poem, start by writing all the words. And here is a shape poem. Now you have to read this as well and identify the theme that it is discussing. This is your worksheet, and now for your homework, you have to solve the questions that are deduced from the poem we studied. Now, all these questions will be solved if you focus on the language structure, the kind of sentences being used, and all the things that we mentioned in our SLO. Now, if you apply these things on the text of the poem, you can answer any kind of question, and all these answers, all these questions will be answered easily. Now, we are here at the end of our lesson with all these resources attached for your better understanding. They are available in the description of the video. So, my dear learners, I thank you for listening to me and being so patient. I hope that now your SLO is very much clear and we have achieved it. We talked about predicting the meaning of any text using the language structure, vocabulary, and also we talked about identifying themes in stories or poems. Till the next video lesson, Allah Hafiz.